Dimensional Exposure Dossier. This document is registered to USDRA personnel with level 5 clearance. Exposure to referenced environments may result in delayed cognitive contamination, identity fragmentation, memory bleed-through, and irreversible neurological damage. This is what I found due to a video sent to me at the beginning of this week from an unknown user who was very demanding about me investigating the disappearance of his friend on a random server, going to extreme lengths to get me to comply, sending me into the depths of government-controlled neurological research and a horrifying history behind the players who have made it into these forgotten places. It all started with his friend's disappearance on a random server with no souls or persons online. This IP was one of the first things sent to me by this unknown user, alongside the video. The video left behind only gave us one clue, and that is that his friend vanished mid-playthrough, giving me very little to work with on finding out where this person's friend went. The room his friend started in was small, connected to a small corridor that led him to a bigger room called the Annex. The Annex was connected to smaller corridors, though we don't get to figure out where they lead. Something startles this player, causing them to fall into the pit of the Annex. The drop led to the void, but instead of meeting fate, he would meet another room and a new stretch of hallway. This hallway would be a corridor full of iron doors and light, and would give anybody who'd walk down it vertigo. This begs the questions about this place that he is in. What is it exactly? And indefinitely, it is not a player-made construct, as no one was online when he first appeared within its confines. So, how did he gain access to this place? And can others gain access to it as well? As we reach the end of this video, we also reach the end of the corridor, leaving us to question where this player is, and what happens to him from here. Our first steps to finding this player was to join the server. However, upon spawning in, I would immediately notice multiple other structures abandoned by their builders. With this, I would check out a few of the houses, until I stumbled across one house in particular that had left behind something rather confusing. A book that had one phrase in it: "If you follow yourself, you lose the exit." I don't know what this was hinting towards, let alone theorizing what it could be for, but as I took my time theorizing about the book and how to gain access to the mystery facility, night would fall, and all my efforts would be in vain. And seemingly out of nowhere, white concrete against the brown textures of the mountain that held nothing there previously. As I made my way over to this new structure, I noticed that the building looked similar to the halls that were seen in the last footage of the missing player. And once I stepped in, it engulfed me in unfamiliarity. It didn't feel right. I felt like I was slipping from reality. As I turned around, that's when things started to take a turn. The way I came in suddenly disappeared. With the text in the book from earlier changing into some type of Caesar cipher. This would decode to "Don't forget who you were." As I attempted to make my way down the corridor, it felt like I wasn't moving, as if my progression was being reversed. Eventually, I'd make it down the hall and into another corridor. And like clockwork, the way I came in vanished. This place was trapping me inside. Did it do the same to the other players that joined the server? And did it do the same to our missing player? As we continued down memory lane, we reached the same room as before. The annex. This time it was different, changed, but ever so slightly. Instead of a fleeting void in the pit, there was a floor. Something else beckoned below, and unfortunately, I was knocked into the pit. Not by a scare or a roar, but I was shoved into the pit of the annex. As I processed the current situation, the feeling of unease grew like a corruption in my thoughts. I felt like I forgot something, but I couldn't pinpoint what it was. It felt obvious, and at the same time, it was continuously slipping my mind as events unfolded. Upon reaching the bottom floor of the annex, a book left on the ground would go unnoticed as I gathered myself. This book would be known as the Codex, a book that held various symbols that correlated towards different meanings and phrases. This could be of use for us in the future. There's no coincidence in finding it here. This place was like a literal maze. Though easy to navigate, there would be tattered arrows pointing me in a direction, guiding me towards something that wants to be found. Though I couldn't help but notice a room amongst all the arrows. Next to this room was a sign with the same symbols from the Codex. The given code from the Codex reveals this phrase to be a new presence has entered this room. Seeing the weirdness of the situation, I left the room alone, continuing to follow the arrows that desperately pointed me in the direction it wanted me to follow. This would lead me to a bigger area. And farther in stood another smaller room with the same sign from earlier. In the room stood a cabinet and what seemed to be an item frame lock combination, something we are very familiar with. And within the cabinet held a book with letters, underscores, and numbers. Of course, dealing with item frame lock combinations in the past, we know that the numbers correlate to what the item frame needs to be in position for in order for us to access whatever's in this room. However, I feel like that there is an entirely different meaning behind what is given to us from this book. I don't have the means to translate what it means, or to even see if it's some type of translation into any kind of word, phrase, or cipher, but something about this book strikes me odd. Continuing on, I would go on to do the puzzle, and in doing so would open a piston door on the other end of the room. An end rod. A light source, okay. Yeah, but then what? I don't... How do I get out of here? I don't like being in here. What direction did I even come from? I decided to head back to explore the endless corridors to see if I could find an exit, but instead of finding what I was looking for, I found another task to complete, leaving me more confused than before and more lost. Reality just didn't feel like it was making any sense. The task given to me was on a piece of paper left on the floor. It's too dark, fix it. Farther in stood a darkened room, with a chair and a light illuminating it. As I investigated the chair, I decided to have a seat. And vaguely, within the dark was a tattered arrow pointing towards something on the wall. a button. And this button revealed a hidden crate, which held lights and a spatula. This is what was needed to light up the surrounding area and to complete the task at hand. However, it still begged the question, what did I feel like something was missing? Like I was forgetting something? And where is the exit? Questions aside, I would go on to finish the task, and then continuing to explore the rest of the corridors, attempting to find an exit. But I would find something else instead, something that felt very familiar. A soul lantern placed on top of a table. This familiarity was odd, uncomfortable, so I ignored and brushed off what I found and continued back into the endless maze of crooked corridors. Problem fixed? But what the hell is the spatula for? I got a spatula and an end rod. A spatula and an end rod. I'd soon come across another signed room, and this room would read, "A room of darkness." Eventually, I ended up finding something again. It was another room, but this time there was 3 plaques consisting of various items. An end rod, a spatula, and a wrench, clearly hinting towards something like an exit or a way out, or maybe even a way to progress past the area that we're in. So that's why I have these 3? End rod, spatula, and I need a wrench. Okay. I checked the areas around the room and would find nothing, so I'd continue back into the corridors to find the item that I was missing in order to see what the plaques offered. But still, I couldn't help but feel like I've seen this before. They seem memorable, but I have no recollection of where these puzzles and events could have come from. But I would come across something weird. Another cabinet lit up at the end of another darkened area. This held the wrench that we were looking for, alongside a book and a piece of paper. It read, "It doesn't follow you. It replaces you." What the hell does that even mean? But my concern wasn't with the paper, it was with what I found inside the book. A question. What is your name? I couldn't remember my own name. Something so pivotal, something that identifies you. I can't even remember. Why can't I remember what my name is? Something in here, or this place, something is affecting my memory. What is my purpose within these forgotten halls? What? After acquiring the missing item, there was nothing left for me to do but move forward with the plaques. I would enter each item into the plaques. On the right corner of the room revealed 2 things. Another hidden crate, and a new passage. This had me questioning who built this construct, and why was memory loss a side effect of being within this place. The crate held a book called The Basic Format Alphabet, or BFA for short, a book consisting of phrases that correlate to the letters of our alphabet system. There are 12 pages of this system, a set of basics, and 3 variations of it. But our attention would shift to the newly opened corridor, and in this corridor was static. I didn't understand. Was this the way out? The exit? As I stepped into its confines, I'd find myself in some kind of empty field, with no recollection of how I got there. The longer I stayed within this place, the faster my memories degraded. However, when I was in this field, everything felt calm. I didn't feel like I was slipping, like my mind was in turmoil, but something was off with this place. This place held no familiarity, at least to me. In front of me lay a field of dry grass, with a simple path leading in two directions. I couldn't remember why I decided to head towards the direction of the sun, but it led me to what I can only describe as some kind of shopping district surrounded by apartments. What is that? What the hell is this place? I'd noticed how out of the blue this area was, and upon making my way onto the property, I'd noticed a book on the floor of a hallway of the closest building to me. I find it a little odd, as it's kind of similar to the last area we were in, how we found a random book upon entering this new place. However, putting those two coincidences aside, I decided to go over to the book and pick it up. This sparked me to check out the entire area. This led me to a staircase for whatever building this was. Seeing the length of it just made me not want to do anything or touch any of the stuff within it. So I decided to check what was inside the book. And the book held some type of report. Whoa, okay. Purpose of report. This document establishes a comprehensive understanding of the Forgotten Places as a system rather than an isolated anomaly. Is this talking about this? Like the rooms that we were in? It explains memory interaction mechanisms and outlines the justification for continued DRA involvement. Who is DRA? This report also integrates subject data, personal exploration, and recovered artifact analysis into a unified operational model. There's just a whole report from someone called DRA, or some place called the DRA. Cognitive reactive behavior. The environment interfaces directly with the brain's memory processing regions. Subjects report recognizing locations they have never visited, recalled events that did not occur, and losing the ability to distinguish past from present moment. This suggests that memory is not only affected by the environment, but actively used to generate it. I don't know exactly who or what the DRA is, but this report shines a light onto a bigger picture. Could it be the reason why this shopping area is in this plane? And for sure, this points in the direction as to why my memory is junk within this place. If I could find more about the DRA and their reports, maybe there is something in there that could help with remembering what was lost and preventing more memory loss. Maybe even a way to get out of these forgotten places. But that also brings me to question how they are getting in and out of this place. If they're able to submit reports, there must be a way of accessing them outside of the forgotten places. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. The Forgotten Places should therefore be understood as a hybrid system, part spatial structure, part cognitive projection, and part accumulated memory residue. Memory consumption process. The primary mechanism of the Forgotten Places is forced activation of memory recall. This process appears to overload neural pathways responsible for identity continuity. Regions vary in intensity. Maintenance halls and apartment sectors rapidly degrade memory and self-reference, while open environments such as the Badlands preserve memory but induce psychological stress through symbolic elements such as grave markers. The system does not erase memory uniformly. It extracts, destabilizes, and repurposes it. I'm so lost. According to this report, this is known as the Forgotten Places, and uses the memories of whoever steps foot into this place to construct the places that we see. How this works is completely unknown to me and out of my expertise. However, I have decided to continue exploring the area that we found in attempts to find a way out or any means of an exit. Instead, I ended up finding two books. And the first book was some type of player entry. What entry one? I don't remember how I got here. That's not me being dramatic. I mean, I actually cannot remember the moment I entered this place. 1 second I was somewhere else, and now I'm standing in a corridor that stretches farther than it should. The halls are narrow, industrial, metal walls, pipes overhead, occasional flickering lights, but most of it is just dark. Not normal darkness either. It feels like the kind that sits in your head, not just around you. I started walking because standing still made it worse. There's a pattern here, I think. Corridors splitting into other corridors. But when I turn around, they don't look the same anymore. I tried marking a wall earlier. I know I did. I can't find it now. Something's wrong with my memory. Not like forgetting where I put something. It's more like things are being removed. Whole moment's gone. I'll be walking, then suddenly I'm somewhere else in the hallway with no memory of how I got there. I tried to think about my name just now. I couldn't remember it. I wrote it down somewhere, I think. I need to find that. The deeper I go, the quieter it gets. Not silent, just empty. Like sound doesn't want to stay here. I feel like I've already walked these halls more than once. This is clearly referencing the maintenance halls mentioned from the USDRA report. However, how this player was able to gain access to the maintenance halls is concerning. I theorize that it can be from anywhere. It can be found in any way. An exit, the annex, or simply entering the corridors like I had forgotten. This was bad as progression was uncertain, and where you'd end up next was a mystery. Yet, another concern was who this entry belonged to. Was it a player, or was it somebody who was involved with this USDRA that's mentioned within the report? As far as I know, things seem to be getting good. Moving on, I'd find another book. But this book was different. It had binary within it, and taking my time to put this through a decoder, this would lead me to a USDRA archive. The USDRA was also known as the U.S. Department of Registered Anomalies. According to the document about the Forgotten Places, the same document that was written in one of the books we found, the USDRA also stands for the U.S. Dimensions Research Agency. And farther down in their report, the DRA's justification for involvement with this dimension is due to deaths that were confirmed within the Forgotten Places, the discovery of artifacts that also belong to unrecorded individuals, which also elevates the Forgotten Places to a contaminant level threat. Though I haven't seen anybody in here, there's also one thing I'd like to point out. According to the DRA, there have been multiple independent accounts of describing a black humanoid figure with white eyes and a crescent-shaped marking on its torso, though I haven't seen it at all. This is very, very important. According to the DRA, it appears during advanced stages of cognitive degradation. Current interpretation suggests it may function as an observer, threshold maker, or manifestation of system awareness. But as I look into this further, it makes me want to leave this place even more. It's like things are starting to connect. Maybe I can find something within these documents that would explain why I'm losing my memories as well, and how to counteract and prevent any memory loss, as well as bring back some of the memories that I had forgotten, or at least try to remember them. And though there are other documents to look at, my attention now shifted from checking out what this was to finding the quickest way out of this place as soon as possible. If my memories, including the memories of others, are going to be used to reconstruct whatever planes we get into, I don't want to be a part of it at all. This means that anything, including the maintenance halls and the apartments mentioned in the report, could be different compared to what they reported originally. And I don't want to become the next subject or the next person that they have to write a report on. These two buildings are the only buildings that don't have entrances to it. Or at least they're on the other side. With my time here, I'd noticed a couple of things. The apartment buildings that surrounded the shopping area had two buildings facing completely opposite directions compared to the rest of the buildings. I made the assumption that these two buildings had something hidden inside them that would lead to some sort of exit. So I decided to go and check myself to see if I could find anything that would lead me to an exit. And upon checking the other building, my assumptions were true. I found a book laying on the floor. It had a variation from our FBA book. As I went back and forth between the books, I eventually decoded what was given to us, and this is what it said. It said, "Remember who you were." I would keep looking through each floor of the building and each room until I reached the top floor. That's when I noticed a door I had never had interaction with opened, and in it, every other door of that room was open as well. I didn't open this because this is the first time we've been up here. The top floor. I would explore the room and check the furnace, and would find a book within the furnace. This book held another cipher with the same variation from the book from earlier. Taking it upon myself to decode it again, I would find a hidden riddle that would lead me to an exit. Where the building faces an exit resides. Is it talking about this building? This is the only, these are the only two buildings that are facing opposite directions. Where the building faces an exit resides. The book gave me a hint towards a direction where an exit could possibly be. Though I wanted to double check and check the rest of the complex, I eventually would make my way in the direction that the two buildings were facing. Eventually, it would turn to night, but I would be able to make out the slightest glow in the distant field. I felt a sigh of relief. This could lead me out of the forgotten places. This could take me back home. But with the uncertainties at hand, it is never a guarantee. I don't know where this is going to lead me. This could take me anywhere. As I approached the door, a name came to my thoughts. I don't know if it was my name entirely, but I'd like to assume that it was. At this time, everything felt too calm. But looking at this door shook every nerve in my body. I decided to write an entry, including my name, as if something were to happen to me, in the off chance that I become like one of these other subjects, and I at least want to leave something behind. Though my initial goal is to not be documented, I have a bad feeling about what's going to happen next. Take a look at subjects 1 and 58, for example. The only way they were able to get out was by self-termination. The infinite fields holds many interesting things, but its subtleness and clearing of the fog in my head is what scares me. Though I cannot remember where I came from or how I got here, I do remember two things. Now that I found my way out this infinite field. My name is Squanky, and my task was to find someone's friend who also ventured into this place. But I do not remember how I got into these forgotten places.